Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. The mystery of creation has bamboozled human beings since times immemorial. Since the creation itself, people have been thinking how this world was created. Was it created with the God saying go and procreate? Was it created the biblical way? Is it a result of evolution? All that. And the mystery of the creation is as much relevant today as it was centuries back. However, quite some time back, there was a book which people rarely read, Prashna Upanishad. Now, this Upanishad, out of the many Upanishads, answers these questions of creation. It raises half a dozen questions, and responses are there, clarifications are there. It seeks to unravel the mystery of life itself, prana, the breath, the whole Upanishad in the shape of a conversation, the way Plato's Republic was, conversation between the teacher and the student. So it's a six young men, they go and meet Sage Piplada. Sage Piplada was supposed to be one of the most intelligent people as per the Prashna Upanishad. And they meet Sage Piplada to seek his advice and his explanation to unravel the mystery of prana. Prana is the breath. The six questions they ask, each one asks one question, form the inquiry in the Prashna Upanishad. The very itself, the name Prashna, question. So the questions of creation are answered in this Upanishad. And the very first question sets up the tenor of the conversation. From where we are born, that's the first question. And Piprada answers this question by settling down. And he sets down the matter energy matrix. The same thing that is being done today was done centuries back by Sage Upadhyay, and he says that the principal source of creation is the energy matter matrix. Now, how does it happen? How does this matrix evolve? So he goes on to explicate it. Mixing of Rai, Rai, that's a matter, and prana, the breath. This is the energy which is manifested in all species. And then Diplada goes on to explain the bioplasma origin of life. Rai means food, from where semen is formed and from which the human beings are formed. This bioplasmic mix reflects the matter energy matrix, and that is the source of origin of our life. The energy, the food, the biology, in fact, the evolution is an evolutionary process. Of course, he gives it in the form of argument acceptable at that time. But the matter energy matrix is the principal source of creation as a part Prashna Upanishad. The second question is the result of the first question. It can be called to be corollary of the first question. This relates to relationship of the senses with the life force. How are our five senses connecting with the life force? Piprada then defines prana. Prana is breath, life itself, as the essential life force that sustains all sensory organs. And that's true. If you are alive only, then your senses are working. If you are not alive, your sense of touch, taste, sight, hearing would have no meaning. And then, he goes on to allegory, stating it as a queen bee, that our breath, that our life is a queen bee. All other bees go out when the bee queen goes out, and all the bees settle down when the queen bee settles down. So, as long as we are breathing, as long as we are alive, the five senses are attendant to that life force, and they execute the commands of the life force in letting us know, feel, sense, smell. Those five senses would be useless, redundant, if the breath is not there. So the essential life force sustains the senses and not the other way around. And then Piprada explains very clearly that mind too, along with these sense motor organs, is dependent on the life force. And now here he says another thing. He says mind itself has two roles. On one side is dependent on the life force, and on the other it originates from the life force. This is a prompt to all seekers to go into the origin of thought itself. Mind is thought. So thought pattern depends on your life, but your life also depends on the thought pattern. The interconnectivity is clearly stated in Prana Upanishad. The third question is, well, if the energy matrix is to be there, then what's the origin of prana itself? From where does the prana come? The breath comes, the life comes. And then, the sage goes into the core of the Vedantic thought. The whole Vedantic philosophy is based with the origin of life force. And it sees prana as emanating from Atma. Atma is the soul. How energy is born out of the cosmic womb. Energy doesn't come itself. Again, it's in fact a clarification in different terms of the evolution. The energy is coming of the cosmic womb, emanating slowly and steadily, evolving out of that. And that Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic womb, covers the lifelong force as much as a shadow spreads over the body. So slowly and steadily, the light comes out of the darkness. And that's what the Bible says. Lord said, there let there be light, and there was light. And that's what the Muslim philosophy says, Noor. And that's what the Sikh says, Aval Allah Noor Upaya. First the God created light. And this is what, long before Christianity, Sikhism, Islam came into being, the Hindu philosophy in Prana Upanishad says that first was a light coming out of the cosmic womb. Now, those people were thinking that as the man is born from the womb, so is the whole creation out of the womb. Maybe that's correct. And then it says that body has no separate existence from soul. The people who say that the soul leaves the body, no. Body and soul are one and the same thing. One is the outer manifestation of the inner self. That only is a manifestation. And mysteriously, body can draw a veil over the real nature of your soul, and also by hypnotizing the mind with the dazzle of the external forms. Now, that concept was later on clarified by Shankara when he developed his own theory of Maya and later predicted this very thought. The predication of Shankara is in fact based on the Upanishad, the Prashna Upanishad. Now comes the fourth question, and that takes the aspirant, the inquirer, into an analysis of three states of human consciousness, especially the dream state and the dreamless deep sleep, wherein the question asked is which part of human being sleeps? Does the body sleep? Does the soul sleep? Does the conscious sleep? And the question asked is which part of the human body sleeps, as I said. Since the body is the manifestation of soul, body sleeps. But the soul is awake. That means the consciousness is always there. Now it can be subconsciousness, it can be semi-consciousness. So who sees the dream then? Does the body see the dream or the soul see the dream? And then who remembers it? Now Peplada explains it the way any psychologist of today would do so. He sees the dream state as a projection of the mind and the thought. What you've been thinking in the day is projected in this. When all other senses are withdrawn, they have been lulled to sleep. When you are sleeping, you don't speak, you don't see, you don't hear, unless you are rudely awakened. And in this state of dream, there's a recreation of the impressions of the working state. And in the deep, dreamless sleep, the mind too gets absorbed back into the soul, into the cosmos, into the consciousness. And each being fleetingly goes back to the cosmic moon. So, if it's absolutely dreamless state, then your thought pattern is also resting. And that's what the psychiatry does. The neural waves, when you're asleep, are much flatter. They are not moving in serpentine manner, which they are when you are awake. And the sixth and the final question is where the push is. The push, the unmanifested source, points to the physical body. That's the first question. The spiritual dimension is always within us in the shape of consciousness. It's waiting to be awakened, activated, and beyond the conditioned mind. In the unconditioned mind, shorn of all these subtleties, shorn of all the outer manifestations, is our consciousness, which looks to be activated. And in that instance, the human beings become aware of the source of life, calm of mind, all passion spent. Brahma is not only transcending but underlying everything. So it's a unity of the cosmos that is really life sustaining. The unmanifest absolute is known by its manifestations. And what's a manifestation? The human body. But the real knowledge that makes us alive, according to Peplada, is the fact that manifestation is merely a projection that originates from Brahma only. So Brahma, soul, consciousness, whatever name you want to give it, is the result of your mind's activating your thought process, which in turn gives life to your sensory organs, and that thought pattern then conditions the mind. And out of that cosmos is the life born. So, Prashna Upanishad deals with that question that agitates the minds of the people today, and that has been agitating the minds of the people since centuries. And that's why I say that Upanishads and Vedas are the real source of knowledge. And many times they give us more information, or rather as much information as the modern day science can. But then science and the spirit of inquiry is the same. It was the same centuries back, it's the same today. The only thing is those Upanishads were able to reveal us those secrets which were consigned to the dead past. But the modern science is resurrecting them, however, showing that the originality of thought of our ancestors was much more sharper, much more accurate, and much more incisive. If you want to study the origin of creation, if you want to know the creation in all its manifestation, then Prashna Upanishad is an ideal book to go by. Thank you.